What is up, guys? This is Monster Chappie. We're back for the first time like we never left. Madden 15, first video of the year. And I really want to give you guys some helpful tips right now. Just to start the year off really simple. This is all about settings and all that good stuff and new buttons and whatnot. So let's go ahead and hop straight into the customization settings area real quick. And I'm really only going to talk about what's new here. Don't want to waste too much of you guys' time with something like this, but I do think these tips you should find helpful. And again, man, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. You know, I usually don't ask for subscribers, but I'm going to be providing a ton of Madden 15 content coming up here, from gameplay to tips to everything between, man. MUT action, definitely going to be getting MUT started up pretty quick here and all that good stuff. But I'll talk about all that fun stuff in the gameplay video. Let's get straight into the tips here. So what's new? Pump fake is L1. I'm not sure if that was the case last year. It may have been, but just in case it wasn't, I want to touch on that. The pre-play offense is big time. Now, the zoom in camera and zoom out camera is something we'll talk about in a second, but those are things that are personal preference type things. If you want to have your camera thing on, you can have it on. If you don't, you can turn it off, and I will show you how to do that in a second here. Otherwise, you know, pass protection's L1, typical stuff there. Pre-play defense. Now, there's some new stuff as far as defense goes with the defensive keys. There's some new stuff with the coverage audibles. Otherwise, everything else is the same, again, besides the zoom in camera and the zoom out camera. So besides that, there's a lot of new features in the defensive keys and in the coverage audibles that I'll cover in another video. But as for now, you know, pretty much everything's the same there. Again, the timeout is the big middle button if you're on the PS4. Not quite sure what it is on the Xbox. Then we get to defense, ball in the air. The biggest difference here is just going to be the swap button. It is no longer L1, it is R1. So I've found myself hitting L1 a few times, and that is a problem because your guy will not react. So other than that though, defensive engaged, again, L1 is the new defensive assist button, but you know, as usual, triangles to bat the ball down, circles switch players. The big difference here again is now X and square, or if you are on the Xbox One, I believe that's going to be A and X are going to be your go-to moves. And you know, my recommendation there is whatever rating's higher for your player, use that. Typically I find if your player's high in both, I prefer the power, but you know, whatever your player specializes in, I definitely go with that. And then defensive pursuit, strip ball is now R1 and not L1, so that's big time right there. And again, I love the strip button, especially right after they catch the ball. So now it's not only the strip button, it's the swap button. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds with that. And yeah, otherwise you got the conservative tackle, which is X or A. You have the aggressive tackle, which is square or X on the Xbox One. And then pretty much everything else is the same defensively. So that's just the real basics right there. Now let's get into the good stuff. Volume control. This is going to be pretty much for you commentators out there, you guys that want to start making videos and just recording audio. You can either do what I do. I just turn the master volume down to about 30 to 20 or 40, something in that range. That way you can still have some game volume and hear it, but it's not too loud where you're basically fighting to be heard. So that's just a quick tip there. Otherwise, if you have a recording software, you may be able to turn the game audio down in there. You can use that option as well. Visual feedback. This is huge right here. Big things here. So first off, the play call button layout, I leave it as triangle, square, cross. And the reason I do that is because I'm assuming that's what it's going to be at a tournament, because that is the default setting. Now, defensive graphics. I know you guys have been running around the field. You see a big old tackling cone. You see buttons that you want to push to do moves, and that's all defensive graphics. I keep mine on none because I like to keep the field plain, But this can actually be really helpful for you guys learning to play the game, first learning to play the game, or even when you're just first starting, even if you're a veteran, if you're first starting, this can help you to just kind of realize how they want you to play in this year's version of the game. But it also gives you a sense of how they want you to use that conservative tackle, the aggressive tackle, as well as the hit stick. Really only hit stick when they're, right up close to you. You don't want to be trying to hit stick. There's no gravitational pull like there used to be in the PS2 days. Kick aiming arc. You guys have seen the good old McDonald arc whenever you're punting or kicking the ball. I turn it off. That's personal preference. Also, the reason I turn it off is maybe on tournaments that may be off. I'm not sure yet, so we'll find out. Once I know for sure, I'll probably match whatever the tournament guys are, whoever's hosting the tournament, whatever they're doing. Usually there's one set standard across all tournaments, and then from there you're able to just use those settings to rely on. Previous play information. This is really big. Leave that on. And the reason you want to leave that on is because whenever you're playing online, you can see whatever play your opponent just picked. And if you're really scratching your head and you don't know, you can go ahead and use that, take advantage of it. And then, of course, the pre-snap menu and that stuff, pretty much the same as usual. Let's go back into the game options straight away. Again, this stuff's all the same. Now they have even teams. This is something that was on NCAA. So if one of you guys wants to use the Browns, the other one wants to use the Seahawks because those are your two favorite teams, and you really don't feel like it's balanced, you could turn this on. But again, this is something more for head-to-head. Leave this off, though, for the most part. You want to be able to have teams that are different skilled and take advantage of the positives and negatives of each team in the game. And there are a lot of usable teams in this year's game. But again, I'll talk about that in some gameplay. As far as play call style, quick versus enhanced, again, this is personal preference. It really doesn't matter to me personally because I pick my own plays anyway. But for those of you that do use that system, quick or enhanced, either way, whatever you like. Enhanced is basically just going to give you 3 plays at a time. Quick is going to give you 1. Now this right here is big. This is the camera toggle. And there's 2 reasons this is big. One, because when you're making adjustments, you can do them with the D-pad, I believe, with this off. If this is on, if you start using the D-pad, your camera's going to start going wild, giving you all kind of different angles and stuff. So that's just that. Personally, I leave it off because I like my camera to be the same angle, same height, all that good stuff, consistent throughout the game. I don't want no wild changes while I'm playing. I feel like it'll just throw me off. So I keep it off. But there's definitely some really beautiful camera angles on the game if you want to look at them. I have looked at them. But just for playing competitively, that's not going to be the move for me. So next big thing this year that's different is the settings. There is a huge difference between All-Madden and All-Pro and Rookie, whatnot. So Pro and Rookie are pretty much the same. As you can see down here, everything's pretty much on. And the game speed is slow on Rookie and Pro. Now if you go to All-Pro, game speed goes to normal, and the switch assist goes to off. That's something I always turn off anyways. And now a big difference from All-Pro to All-Madden now is that you no longer have Ball Hawk, you don't have Strafe Assist, you don't have Heat Seeker, none of that's on. And believe it or not, it makes a huge difference in how you play. Especially with the ball hawk and stuff off, you really got to have your user timing. You can no longer just hold triangle or Y and then kind of make a play on the ball. You actually have to time it now. So that's going to be something you're definitely going to want to get used to before going into any major tournament or anything like that, because tournaments will be on All-Madden. So, get used to that. Get some head-to-head games. Play some buddies online and some lab games or just real games, and just make sure it's on All-Madden, because that's going to be a huge difference this year. And then the coin toss first choice. Basically all this does is if you pick kick and your opponent happens to pick receive, then you guys won't even have to go through the coin toss and worry about picking that and wasting those 2 minutes of the game, and you just save you some time. Excel clock, all this good stuff is same as years past. So that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. I didn't mean for it to go almost 10 minutes, but hey, it is what it is. Sometimes that happens. I want to thank you guys for watching, and until the next time, be sure to thumbs this up if you found this video helpful, and subscribe for more, man. I got a ton more action coming soon. Should have a gameplay up later today. Just been in the lab so much that I haven't really played too many games online, but you know, it is what it is. But till the next time, guys, we gone.